Hey class, my name is Jacob Baggett, and I did a missionary biography paper on Peter Cameron Scott. Peter Cameron Scott was born March 7th, 1876 in Glasgow, Scotland. And why Peter Cameron Scott is a well-known missionary today is because he started a foundation called African Inland Mission. That's the abbreviation is AIM, and AIM serves and partners with churches to share and advance the gospel among Africans who have the least opportunity to hear about Jesus. And what I think is key to Peter Cameron Scott is this man caught malaria, which is a rare disease. Well, it wasn't rare in that time; everyone was catching it. But Peter Cameron Scott caught malaria 3 times, and the first time he went and he was like, okay, God's called me to this, I'm going to do it. But then all of a sudden he caught it and they had to sell him back to Scotland to recover. Well, the second time his brother John wanted to come. So him and John sailed back to Africa and then they both got it. Well, John passed away. And as you can think and imagine, Peter had to bury his own brother. And then all of a sudden Peter caught malaria again. So he had to go back to Scotland. And during that time, where Peter Cameron Scott was in Scotland for the second time, he went to Westminster Abbey. And Westminster Abbey is a place, and in this place, David Livingstone, he was a well-known Scotland evangelist as well, but his tomb was there in Westminster Abbey. And on the stone, it was inscripted with John 10:16, and it reads, "And I have other sheep that are not of this fold. I must bring them also, and they will listen to my voice." Well, this stirred something in Peter Cameron Scott to say, listen, I haven't succeeded what I wanted to succeed in these last 2 runs. I've done a lot, but I haven't gotten to where I want to be just yet. And so through this time, that really urged Peter Cameron Scott to go back to Africa, to start planning these mission stations in Africa all along the way. And to this day, Peter Cameron Scott and his foundation of AIM has reached so many African people. And that's what I really wanted to emphasize in the last minutes here of just how dedicated Peter Cameron Scott was to being a missionary for the Lord. I mean, this man caught malaria, the disease of all diseases, in this time in 1876 and through all the 70s of 1870s. He caught this disease, but he kept going. You know, he could have stopped after the first one, but he kept going. He could have stopped after the second one after he buried his own brother. And even in research, his sister caught malaria and she passed away. So all these trials that Peter Cameron Scott was facing, he didn't care. He cared to an extent, but he wanted to push. He wanted to pursue what the Lord was doing in his life. And so when I reflect on my life, and just what God has allowed me to do to share His gospel. I'm a student pastor, so for the students He's entrusted me with, to keep pushing, to keep pursuing when things get in my way, keep going. That's the thing that I get when I did research on Peter Cameron Scott. That this man did not give up. He kept pouring into these people, and he wanted to see the gospel of Christ all throughout Africa. And so today, we get to rejoice and be glad because Peter Cameron Scott really planted a seed through AIM, the Africa Inland Mission. And so it was a great time studying and researching on Peter Cameron Scott. And I hope that some of you, as I listen to your videos and you listen to mine, I hope some of you will dive in and learn who Peter Cameron Scott was.